Alright, so in today's lesson, I plan on going through with you guys on basically what is how to navigate a baseball roster through your typical website. For this particular instance, an example, I'm going to go through the San Diego Padres 2022 um, full full roster. Before we do anything like that, though, what I think I should preview for you guys is several things that you're going to need background onto before we go into the actual roster. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to go through some preset vocabulary words that we're going to walk through that you'll end up seeing on the actual roster page itself. So first thing we're going to go through is what an at bat is. So if you look at an at bat, what this technically is a it's a plate appearance, or what happens in baseball is a one team will be on offense, the other be on defense, and when this happens, a player will come up to the plate for the offensive team, and what this is known as is an at bat. So this is a turn and trying to hit, as you see here. Um, we'll go on to the next one. This statistic is known as a balk. So it's a little bit more complicated. This is for pitchers. So this is when a pitcher goes into his motion on the mound. Typically, what you'll see is the pitcher will continue will begin his motion, and then he'll stop it in a point where it causes this call to be made. And then the next thing is what's known as a base hit. So again, on the offense, when a player's taking his at bat, what will happen is he'll swing. If he makes contact with the ball that's being thrown at him, and it goes past an infielder or one of the defenders and goes into the field, this is what's known as a base hit. So the successful act of striking a baseball in such a way that the batter reaches base safely. So that's what's known as a base hit. So those are some basic vocabulary words that you'll see on the roster. There's a few more that I think would make sense for us to know. I think what we can look at here is kind of a um, general look at the vocabulary words as far as Webster Dictionary goes. So the batter, that's the person who goes up to the plate. There's also known as bunt, which is to basically just stick your bat out and let the ball hit it. There's different positions. So there's a catcher, the player who plays behind home plate. There's a dugout, which is the place where the players typically hang out. And then you have fielders, which are the players other than the pitcher or catcher on the team that is not at bat. There's foul balls, which is a baseball batted into foul territory. Home plate, which is a base that a runner must touch in order to score. Home run, which is a hit in baseball that enables the batter to go around all the bases and score. Infield, which is the diamond-shaped part of the baseball field inside the bases and the home plate. You have innings, which is a division of baseball game that consists of a turn at bat for each team. There's a mitt, which is a baseball catcher's or first baseman's glove. You'll see outfielders, which is the part of the baseball field beyond the infield and between the foul lines. Pitcher, the player who throws the ball to a batter. Shortstop, which is a baseball infielder whose position is between second and third. And I'll show you guys here. You'll get a general look at what the positions on the diamond actually look like. So in baseball, what happens is they typically will number the positions. So we start at 1. There's 9 total positions on the field, and this is how you're categorized according to where you play. So pitcher is ruled as number 1 because that's the first place on the field, and then we go straight across to the catcher, which is number 2, and then we go up the line on the infield, and we go up to 3, which is first base. And then we go across the diamond here to the other corner, which is it's known because it's the corner of the diamond, and that is third base. And then you'll go across to 4, and that is second base. And then you'll see on the infield, we have the shortstop. This is also known as the captain of the infield. They're the leader typically in these situations. Them and the catcher usually have one of the more important jobs on being vocal on the infield. And then you go out to the outfield, which you can see is differentiated from the dirt diamond to the grass out here. And so you see there's a left fielder because it's when you're looking out at the field, it's on the left side of the field. That's number 7. And then center fielder, which is the center of the diamond, which is number 8. That's typically your captain of the entire outfield. And then right field, which is number 9. And then I'll show you here. So we'll go into the roster part of everything, and you'll get a sense of kind of what goes into the entire roster, and I'll break down for you guys what we're looking at in each category, and then we'll go into the statistics of the players. So if you see here on the Padres website, you have these markers at the top of the website itself, telling you kind of where to navigate. And so you can go to roster to start. And then there's a drop down, and typically if you just click on roster, it'll pull up the players. So this is when it says active, this is all the current players that are playing for the Padres that'll be in uniform the day of games. So we'll go down here, and you can see at the top there's a category. So just like we saw here, for pitchers, these are the people who have the baseball and are throwing it to the offense on the other team. So these are the guys that are trying to throw what their goal is, strikes and balls. You'll see here they have a category of all the pitchers that are on the Padres. And then if you go down a little bit further, we'll see the catchers that are a part of the team. And the catchers, as you see on here, are categorized as number 2, as we were talking about before. These are the guys that are catching the ball when these pitchers throw it directly to them. These guys are also called, you get to learn more complex stuff of the game. They call different pitches that they know that these pitchers throw. So there's a different variety of pitches that each pitcher has in their own ability to throw. And so these guys are responsible for studying that and getting to know what each of them throw and what they throw best. And then you look next, and these are your infielders. It doesn't have them categorized like we saw on the field here, but just based off general knowledge and watching certain games, I have a sense for what each of these guys plays. C.J. Abrams, for example, he plays shortstop, so number 6. You'll see Jake Cronenworth. He plays typically number 4 at second base. And then we have like Manny Machado, who plays third base for the Padres. And then you'll see Eric Hosmer, who typically plays first base. And you go down a little bit further on the roster, and you find our outfielders. And again, they're not categorized, but from watching enough games, you get to know that like Trent Grisham is the center fielder for the Padres. Left fielder is Jurickson Profar typically. And then you'll see like these guys are all interchangeable a little bit when it comes to right field. So we'll go left to right. So we just talked about kind of what this category at the top says. You'll notice next to each guy there's a number. So that's the number that they wear on their jersey. So each guy is typically categorized with a certain number, so you can differentiate them on the field. And then you see this B/T in the next column. This is bat/throw. So this is the hand in which they hit from. So they, in this case, looking at Pedro Avila, he's a right-handed batter, and he throws with his right hand. And that'll go further down and tell you everything. So L's left. And then you'll see here, HT is their height. So each player has recorded height. It's a funny, stated thing in baseball that guys typically fudge around, and they will embellish their height usually. And then you'll see WT here, and that's the player's weight. Also typically a little bit embellished. And then you'll see here date of birth, so when the guys were born. And then there's different types of rosters. So this is like your depth chart, so I can show you, and it'll actually look more like what we saw on the, or not. Usually it looks more like a diamond. And it shows you, but yeah, you can see now it's more categorized at the top. So the difference is like who the shortstops are, who your left fielders are, who your center fielders are, right fielders, and that kind of stuff. So we'll go, and there's also like your coaches that get listed as well. So you see the manager, the Padres, bench coach. There's multiple positions here that get listed, and then we'll go here to stats, and we'll show you guys kind of how a general stat page is laid out for a Major League Baseball team. So what you'll see, again, we have all our players laid out that play for the team. And what you'll see here specifically, we'll go left to right. So this G is, it shows you at the top there is games played. So this is, each guy plays in a certain amount of games, and it records that. So we have a general working knowledge of how many games guys are playing in. And then you'll see here, we learned about this vocabulary word earlier, is at bats. So the trips to the plate that do not result in a walk. And you can see that. So this is the number of times that the guys come up this year. You'll see here runs when a base runner safely reaches home plate and scores. So then the goal of the game is to have more runs than the other team. So offensively, you're judged based off this. So when you score more runs, that typically means you're on base more, and your team's doing things offensively, getting hits and stuff like that to drive you in. This H over here we saw as hits, so that's when a batter reaches base safely on a fair ball unless the batter is deemed by somebody to have reached on an error or a fielder's choice. And then we have 2B, which is doubles. That's when a batter makes contact and it lands without a player making an error, and they end up on second base. And then right here we have 3B, which is triple, when a player hits the ball and makes contact and a player doesn't make an error and they end up on third base. And then there's home run, which is, a player hits a ball and it goes in the fence that typically guides the boundaries. It goes over in fair territory. And then we have runs batted in, or RBIs, and this is when a guy hits the ball and he has a teammate on base, and they end up coming around and touching home plate and scoring on the hit that they created. We also have walks. So what you have in walks is when a pitcher gets a certain amount of opportunities to throw the ball in the strike zone. If they miss the strike zone enough times, 4 times to be exact, the player gets a walk. Then we also have strikeouts. So pitchers get they have to throw 3 strikes, or the batter has to take 3 strikes, or a combination of swinging, missing, and throwing. And that's what this column is. And then you get stolen bases. So that's when a player's on a base, first, second, third, and they steal the next base. CS is caught stealing, so that's when a player attempts to steal a base, but the catcher or somebody throws them out in result. And the average is actually the rate of times you get a hit per your batting average. So this number, your hits, divided by your batting average. We get into a little bit more complex stats now, which OBP is the rate which a batter reached base in plate appearances. So this is your hits and walks and hit by pitches mixed with your at bats, walks, hit by pitches, and sac flies. So you can see this breaks down to like a percentage, and then slugging is the number of times you've hit a single, double, triple, or home run, divided by your at bats. And then you see here, like, the home runs categorized as 4, the triples categorized as 3, doubles categorized as 2. And then you'll see here is OPS, which is on base plus slugging. So that's just slugging plus your on base percentage, and that's how you get 1